Hit the wrong button there.
This is the value of wrestling. The revolutionary force in wrestling podcasting.
Oh, we are back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are live on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value Wrestling, and this is your Survivor Series 2023 review show. And we are live, and we are bringing it to you in style. We are just trying to make sure everything's up and running. We thank you for being here. Join in the chat. Join in the conversation. But let's get into it, gentlemen. We're going to get to the introductions. First off, up over here, as you can see, it's the one, the only. Oh, believe that. 23 show. And of course, over in the other corner, the one, the only, the New Japan Pro Wrestling expert,
Miguel B.
Believe that, brothers and sisters. And of course, you know me, I'm the big time, and I am here to get us going, to get this party started. Oh, yes. Somebody night need a whiskey in a jar. A little whiskey in a jar. Always. Especially
no more.
Especially if it's a good type of whiskey in a jar, you know. Oh, hold on. Let me just open this can of Pepsi. Yes.
Yep.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen. Survivor Series has come and gone. Another big pay-per-view for WWE is on and off the air. We had some major stuff happen on tonight's show. Some major returns happen on this show. A major unexpected return happened on this show tonight. And we're going to break it all down. We're going to talk about it. We're going to get into the details of everything that happened tonight right here at Survivor Series, live from the Allstate Arena, live from Chicago, Illinois. I guess we also have to talk about in the start of the show, this was the most viewed Survivor Series ever. When the Women's War Games started off, they had the most views and attention to the show ever. The highest grossing sales, I guess. This Survivor Series has beaten every other Survivor Series with a lot of different things, and they're still gathering information. This could be a very huge Survivor Series, and I would say, in all aspects of that too, it is a very huge and major Survivor Series. Overall, a decent show. I thought we got a lot out of it. We had some good times. We got some good stuff coming out of it. I think everything we predicted went down the way it did, and we'll have to see how that all plays out going forward. But let's start talking to the panel here, because I think I may have to sneeze, but we'll give the floor to Mr. Clarke and let us give an opening on what he thought of Survivor Series.
If there's any appropriate song for tonight, it's Let the Good Times Roll. That's exactly what happened tonight. I'm screwing up. I'm talking all this stuff. Like, let's not talk about AEW tonight. WWE is back in form. That's my point, and that's what I'm going with. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
WWE just showed why they are, and I hate to use a Jeff Jarrett pun, but fuck it, they're the king of the mountain. Believe that. Mr. Z, your thoughts on Survivor Series as we open? Just kind of an opening thoughts.
Clearly, you've seen where they were opening the seats at. They said we opened more seats. They took away the stage. They had it behind the entry ramp.
Yeah,
all that packed out immediately.
Can WWE say they
insane tonight?
Can WWE say they might be just the best in the world? I don't know.
Pretty much.
After tonight,
you clearly see why they are the top dog and why they've been the best at what they've done for years.
Brand, number one brand.
Hey, I have to give credit. I think Triple H did something that Tony Khan did that was hot when he brought in Adam Cole that night and then brought Bryan Danielson. I think Triple H did it and told Tony Khan, "Hold my freaking beer, boy," and showed Tony Khan how you do that. But we will talk about all that as we get into it. We're in Chicago. Michael Cole and Corey Graves are in commentary. And so we got a two-man booth tonight. And we start off with the Women's War Games. Bianca Belair, Becky Lynch, Charlotte Flair, and Shotzi's taking on the team of Damage Control. Bayley, Io Sky, Asuka, and Kairi Sane. Excuse me. And What craziness did we get out of there? We got kendo sticks in here. We had trash can lids. We had tables. Oh, we had misting of people. We had a fire extinguisher. We had some crazy bumps off the top of this cage. We saw an amazing, insane elbow from Kairi Sane where I forgot who was laying down, but Io Sky launched Kairi Sane up in the air.
Bailey.
On
Bailey. It was on
Name?
not Bailey, but not to Bailey, but
Shotzi.
Shotzi. Okay, Shotzi was down, and Io was standing in front of her,
chairs.
and Kairi Sane ran at Io, and Io launched her up in the sky, and she came down hitting a beautiful elbow that was just like, damn. Charlotte Flair did one of her best moonsaults. Charlotte Flair is starting to look better. Not just physically, like she doesn't look like she's wearing as much makeup as she used to. She doesn't feel so robotic, but she had a beautiful moonsault coming off the top of that cage. She doesn't feel like a Vince McMahon version of Charlotte. She feels like that Triple H version of Charlotte that we almost saw a lot back in NXT. You're beginning to like Charlotte. And then Io Sky is just freaking mad insane. This fool of a woman. Props to her. Got up on top of that cage and then put a trash can around her body and just launched herself in the air for all who knows how bad that could have gone if everybody would have been there to catch her. But good God almighty. Asuka bringing in 1, 2, 3, 4 different kendo sticks and playing Vanna White of the night because she pull out the stick, show it to the crowd, and the crowd would either cheer or boo, and then she throw them in the ring. She pull out something else. They kept calling for a table. She pulled out everything else, and then she pulled out the table. The fans went happy. Finally, we got a table in the ring. And Damage Control looked like they had a lot of fun. And then we got the crazy moment. Like I said, some point we have to have a Becky and Charlotte come to Jesus moment. Not exactly how I predicted it. All of a sudden, they were double teaming Io. They were double teaming Kairi Sane. They were double teaming everybody, working together really good, like they used to be. And then all of a sudden, Becky in Adrenaline Rush goes over and they start hugging it out. They pulled a Bailey of their own with a hug, and they had their hugging come to Jesus moment, and all was well in what was originally the 4 horsewomen of professional wrestling at that moment. Good solid match. All the way around. We saw a figure 8 and a manhunt or a disarmor kind of going on at the same time. People flying off. We saw, Kairi Sane nailed, I forgot who it was, with that trash can lid so hard that I was like, damn. Becky eventually got, or Bailey, I forgot, Charlotte was going to go spear somebody. I forget who Charlotte was going to spear, but Bailey jumped in the way and took the spear. And then they set up Bailey to Becky on the top ropes, and Becky hits Bailey, and I hate those names together. But Becky hit a manhandle slam on Bailey through a table from the top ropes for the 1, 2, 3. This match went 33 minutes, 33 seconds. I thought this had all the hot spots. I thought this was a good match. I thought this was pretty darn decent for what you get with women's wrestling. I think everybody got to showcase their prowess. We got to see what Kairi Sane and Io Sky will do. We know what Asuka will do. In the end, the story was more about Charlotte and Becky coming together. Shotzi was just kind of filler, and even Bianca Belair felt like she took a back seat to most of this match. She just didn't feel like a big playing role in this. And in the end, like I predicted before, Bailey took the pin. I think this sets up the story that Bailey was the weak link in Damage Control. I think that's going to continue the story. But a good solid match here between Damage Control and the baby faces of Charlotte Flair, Becky Lynch, Shotzi, and Bianca Belair. Mr. Z, your thoughts on the women's War Game match?
First off, the insanity, the women jumping off of the top of the cage, the trash can bump. Like you said, that could have ended way worse than what it could have. I thought that Kairi Sane was going to have flashbacks of Battle in the Valley when she lost her women's title because she had her elbow drop blocked and put into a disarmor. I was like, damn, like, are we going to have that way to be the end of the match? But no, they chose the right way to do it. Manhandle slammed to the table. Come to a finish. Bailey took the fall.
Bailey had to take the pin in all of this. You just knew that was the story being told there. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on the women's War Game match?
Very happy with the match. All these women said, you know what, boys? Follow this. And that's the statement they made tonight.
This is true. This is true. And if you're in the chat, feel free to join in the conversation. And if you're here, make sure you hit that like button so we can get up on the algorithm and get this shared out to other people who want to talk about Survivor Series, because all the talk's going to be about Survivor Series for a long time to come. It might be the end of the world for other things at this point in time right now. Anyways, so we go backstage. We see Chelsea Green, Piper Niven. We see Renee. What's her name? Dupree. Maxine Dupree.
Oh, Renee Dupree. Yeah.
No, Maxine.
Maxine.
You just said Renee Dupree. I was about to say Renee Dupree, and I'm like, it's not Renee Dupree. That's that guy that was hee hee hoo ha. Whoops, don't want to do too much of that. Anyways, we had Maxine Dupree, Otis sitting on a couch, and Akira Tozawa was sitting on Maxine's knee like a little baby, so that was kind of odd. Anyways, Otis had this was a Ruffles moment. Chelsea Green goes, Chicago to love me. Piper Niven's like, us, and she's like, oh yeah, us. And then Otis was there, and then Pretty Deadly walked in, and we got, I think they were calling him Crisp, and Otis was calling them Chips, and they went back and forth until the bowl got flung up in the air, and Chips and Chris, whatever, rattled behind him. And we got the biggest pop so far tonight. We got a big return. Ladies and gentlemen, R-Truth made his on-screen return at Survivor Series, letting everybody know they're not Trips, they're not Chris, but they're Ruffles. And then let us see Akira Tozawa do the Ruffle Shuffle. Luckily, he was there to say, keep it PG. We didn't get any type of New Day. We didn't get Xavier Woods coming in going, Tozawa, that's nasty, which was a good break from it.
Ooh, that's nasty.
I get a running gag, but at some points you can overdo it a little bit. But yes. So R-Truth, our first big return of the night. The big shocker there. We got R-Truth's return. How did you gentlemen, Mr. Clarke, how did you feel about R-Truth returning to WWE on screen?
I am excited to see what Paul Levesque does with R-Truth. Whether using them for comedy, whether using them in wrestling. He can be so entertaining, and he can be so serious if he so chooses to be. Now, obviously, looking at what they did with him tonight, he's probably going to keep in that R-Truth role that they've had him in a while. But it's been a while, so there's kind of a new energy about it.
Yes,
let's see what they can do with it.
Very true, very true. Mr. Z, your thoughts on the return of R-Truth?
Obviously, you can't go wrong with a little bit of comedy from R-Truth. He's a great time filler, so I would like to see what Triple H does with him next. Like Paul said, he can be serious if he needs to be, or like you said, like we've seen,
don't know
if the comedy works too.
I don't know if R-Truth will ever be able to top his scene with Brock Lesnar. We had Brock Lesnar laughing when I'm entering the Royal Rumble, I'm going to eliminate you, Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's like, I'm not in the Rumble. Oh, okay. I retry. Some of the best stuff ever. And when you get Brock Lesnar to laugh.
Till this day, R-Truth pulling out the ladder in the middle of the Royal Rumble, that's still one of my favorite moments they've done.
Anywho. In the back, we have Jey Uso and Sami Zayn. They're finding each other, talking together. Sami says Randy still isn't here. Jey isn't surprised because Jey blames himself because of what happened to Randy. Randy went out at the hands of the Bloodline, and they put him on the show for almost 2 years. We get a slight chant in the background of CM Punk, and Sami ignores it and says he and Jey were on the same side of War Games last year, and they'll come out stronger, just like they will this year. Jey goes to find Cody, and that is the story there. So WWE definitely teasing something here, because trying to say Randy's not going to be there leaves it up for speculation. I thought this was really something at that time that may have been very dangerous for them to leave an open-ended, is Randy there, is Randy not there? Because we knew what tonight was going to bring. They were in Chicago. The talks were all over the place. We knew something would happen. There's been reports about everything going on. With many different things, especially being in Chicago, Chicago. But yes, we got CM Punk chants, and hey. Anyways, up next was a really good, solid match between these two men. We had the Intercontinental Champion on the line, Gunther versus The Miz, and what they needed to do tonight. The Miz doing everything he could, kicking out the knee, going for a low blow, exposing the turnbuckle. They did definitely sell you a ticket just briefly here that you're like, maybe they are going to let The Miz win this title. Maybe The Miz is going to come out on top and win this match. Just for a brief moment there, you really were like, could they do this? Will they do this? The Miz got the skull-crushing finale on Gunther. But in the end, Gunther with a half Boston Crab with a knee in the back. What some people would call a variation of a lion tamer. Miz quickly taps out. This match went 12 minutes, 20 seconds. A good solid match. Miz looks really good coming out of this. Gunther looks strong continuously. But you have to respect Miz in his endeavor. And they definitely, for a moment there, opened the opportunity that maybe the Miz was going to win this. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts?
Did exactly what you knew they were going to do. They're going to have Miz put up a good fight. But in the long run, Gunther was going to come out victorious. And that's all I could actually ask out of the match. I loved it. I'm glad they did it. It was a good match for Gunther to show also why he is as good as he is. You know, it wasn't like it was a squash. It wasn't like it was, just someone that he just, he had a bit of a challenge. And to be great, you need to have those challenges. I think they did everything they need to do. They accomplished everything they wanted to accomplish in this match.
Yes, very much. Mr. Z, your thoughts?
Exactly. Paul just hit the nail right on the head. They made Miz look like he had a chance that he could potentially win the title from Gunther. They made the announcers talked about how if he did win, he'd be breaking the record for most Intercontinental title reigns of all time, beating it was mentioned Chris Jericho.
Not equaling, not beating, equaling.
Equaling?
Yeah,
equaling.
He would have tied Jericho.
Equaling Jericho. And then, lo and behold, into the match, Gunther slaps on the damn lion tamer to finish it. But they did everything they needed to do. They proved why Gunther's the ring general. They proved why Miz had a shot. Mm-hmm. They did not make Miz look stupid whatsoever, and that's why I love this match.
No, they gave us a solid match between these two, and they did sell a ticket briefly for the possibility of Miz winning this match. They really gave you that moment. You thought with some of those low blows and MJF kind of feeling like the WWE scumbag, quote unquote, we'll say. There was some comparisons there where he was winning as a babyface, but still trying to do it the way he knows how to do it. And it was good to see. It was good to see that Miz would still kind of use his nefarious means instead of being a pure babyface. It's still like, I'm going to do whatever it takes to win. So it was nice to still see Miz in that light, but actually look like, hey, you know what? Miz is a contender in this match. From there, Judgment Day's locker room, they're blowing off hot air. Dominic Mysterio shows up and says Randy probably won't be here. And so they go on about that. And so we jump into what was another really good, exciting match. Santos Escobar versus Dragon Lee. And I don't know what else you could ask for these two guys. Escobar avoids Operation Dragon, hits a Canadian Destroyer, then a Phantom Driver to win. This match went 8 minutes, 19 seconds. Good, solid match between Santos Escobar and Dragon Lee, which really didn't have any build. They just kind of threw this together last night on SmackDown, but damn. It's exciting. It definitely builds Santos Escobar back up, going heel. I think they need to change his music a little more. I don't feel his music for the character that I want to see. Hopefully they give him some new theme music with a drastic change, and hopefully he can.
Were they using the one from NXT? That's what I was trying to figure out.
I'm not sure. I think it's the one he was using when they were Del Tasmo the whole time. I just wish they'd give him something new. But Mr. Z, your thoughts on this match since you already spoke up?
Great lucha style match. What more can you say? They did everything they needed to, made Dragon League look good. But typical lucha high spots, and then Escobar pulls out the win. There's nothing more you can say on that one.
And without overdoing it is the other thing too. That's the one thing with the luchadors in WWE. They do it, but without overdoing it like you have sometimes on Spot Monkey TV. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on Escobar versus Dragon Lee?
My favorite thing was what the commentators called the south of the border destroyer. And I'm sitting here thinking, Petey Williams should be so approving of this. He should be very proud that the move that he made famous is still out there, but being done well by Santos Escobar.
Mm-hmm. Nope. Very, very true. Anyways, from there, we get a car driving down into the arena. I thought this was going to be LA Knight making an on-screen appearance until I realized what they were honking. The horn was honking. New Day rocks. New Day. Yeah, and we had Kofi and Xavier Woods drive up in a Slim Jim car. They made some Long Boys references, which I don't know what that eats, and then they eat some Slim Jims, and off they go, and this is what we got from New Day. Yay. They got a TV spot. I thought LA Knight.
I must have missed that. I didn't even catch it.
You didn't miss much.
They just drove down.
Okay.
They drove down in a
drink by then.
They drove down in a Slim Jim car. They were honking the horn to this New Day thing, the New Day chant. There wasn't anything big about it. I just thought LA Knight was the Slim Jim guy with, I think, Bianca Belair, and so I didn't know why New Day were doing this thing, but I guess New Day needed to be on TV, and so we got that.
But you know what I do enjoy, though, about the Slim Jim commercials, even the modern day ones? They still give homage to Randy Savage at the end.
Yes. They just need to keep the New Day out of it.
Yeah.
LA Knight's a perfect spokesman, in my opinion.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, then we moved into the women's world title match. Rhea Ripley defending her title against Zoey Starks. And we had a solid match between these two women. What you expect for these two women. We get a German suplex and a running knee for a 2 count, but then Rhea blocks with Z360. They trade strikes before Rhea Ripley hits a beautiful riptide, gets the pin. 1, 2, 3, 9 minutes and 14 seconds. Another good solid match between these two women. What you expect. There's not a whole lot to say about it. It was just a good match. Mr. Clarke, your thoughts? Zoey,
just like
Rhea,
just like Miz and Gunther before them, you knew it was going to put up a good fight. Zoey has all the tools, and I think she's going to be, a future champion, a future Hall of Famer, etc. But tonight, like I had predicted, was not her night, and we knew that Rhea was going to just continue her dominance, and she looks good doing it.
You weren't going to say it, were you, brother? You weren't going to say it?
Her tagline?
Hey, it'll work.
Mommy's always on top.
Then, I guess. There we go.
Anyways. Mr. Z, your thoughts?
It's same thing as the other as the Miz Gunther match. Zoey Starks came out like a house of fire, the best she could, and just got caught with a riptide stacked up, and that was match. Everyone went home.
Huh. New merch on shop.wwe.com. There is new merch. 2 new shirts.
Yes, there is, sir. R-Truth?
Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. There might be a new R-Truth shirt in here somewhere. I will have to look that up.
Made?
Yeah. The nameless thing. Anyways, then we had Alpha Academy. The only reason I talk about the shop because Alpha Academy came out and told us to shop for Christmas merchandise, WWE merchandise.
Oh, there we go.
Christmas. So yeah,
but I'm already done, so I can't do that.
I gotta pick up a shirt here. From there we had Jay and Sammy. They find Seth Rollins in the back, and they are all loving it. Randy's still not here. Cody says it's okay. He's going to be here. They go back and forth, and so we are waiting the arrival of Cody, or waiting the arrival of Randy. As it is now time for the men's War Games match. Drew McIntyre comes out first to the same music and the stupid sword. I don't know, he needs to lose the sword as his heel character, and I'm ready for him to go back to his old theme as a heel than the music. He's talked about it coming back.
I know.
Broken Dreams? Seriously?
Yes.
He wants it to. I like the current theme, although I agree we can lose the sword.
We need to lose the sword if he's going to go heel. The sword doesn't do anything now as a heel, but I'd rather see him with Broken Dreams as a heel.
Just lose the sword.
Well, I get it as a baby face, family heirloom, yada yada. But if he's going heel like he is, the sword needs to go. And I would like to see Broken Dreams come back as a heel run, just to give him a different vibe and a different feel. His theme song's a little stagnant to me. Anyways, it's time for War Games, gentlemen. It's time for War Games. We have Drew McIntyre coming out first by himself, and then the rest of Judgment Day, Damien Priest, Dominic Mysterio, JD McDonugh, and Finn Balor. They all come out to the ring, and Priest and Drew McIntyre have a complete stare down the whole time. The heels are getting ready, getting in the cage. They have a solo face-off. Eventually, it was Finn Balor who walks down the ring. He's the one that's going to start off for the Judgment Day team. Then we get Cody Rhodes out, Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, and Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is going to start it out for the faces. And we still, at this point in time, have no Randy Orton. Cody, Jey, and Sami all climb into their respective cage. And the cages are locked. Seth and Finn are in the main cage. And the match begins. We get Punk chants early on in this. The WWE had really set themselves up for a lot of things. In this, and we didn't know what was going to happen, especially with Randy Orton not being there. Eventually, we got JD McDonugh in there, and as these people, or some people will say, Rollins kicks the human Funko Pop, referring to JD McDonugh. Eventually, Jay gets in, we get weapons in, we got a good solid match, and they start breaking down. Finally, Sami's in, Cody's in, everybody's in the ring, and Dominic Mysterio's the last for Judgment Day to get in, and Judgment Day goes on a beat down. And then we get a moment between Drew and Priest where they stare off again, and the crowd start chanting, Randy, Randy. You get a major Randy chant, but nothing happens, and then that quickly turns into a CM Punk chant. Again, chants for CM Punk. Everybody wondering what's going on here. Finally, Priest hits a Razor's Edge on Rollins through a table. Thank goodness they're still calling it the Razor's Edge because that man deserves his props. JD hit a moonsault on Sami. We had a coup de grace on Rollins. Dominic hit a frog splash on Cody. The baby faces were down. The clock ticked down. The time went off. And we get nothing. And then as the Judgment Day are standing there grinning, laughing, having the dominance, Rhea Ripley's music hits, and here comes the Money in the Bank briefcase that had been gone for weeks off of TV. And what nobody thought was going to be possible, yes, it looked like Damien Priest, or at least Rhea Ripley, was going to cash in the Money in the Bank in the name of Damien Priest. She had gotten down there. They were about to announce that he was about to cash in. And then there it is. I hear voices in my head. The second big return of the night, Randy Orton to a thunderous ovation. The only thing that was a little disappointing, just Randy was just in his tights and kind of ran down there. He was excited to be there, but it didn't feel like a huge return for Randy. I thought maybe he'd come out in some gear or something. But, Randy showed up. He ran in there, and the babyfaces took over. We got RKOs. We got an Uso Frog Splash. We got a Cody Cutter. Drew took a Haluva kick. And it went back and forth. Eventually, we got an RKO. And Randy tells Cody to finish it. Cody hits Priest with the Crossroads. And Priest takes the pin. He eats the pin at 34 minutes, 21 seconds. And a team of Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, and Seth Rollins and Randy Orton win. There was a moment where Randy Orton was down on the ground getting ready to strike somebody with an RKO. It looked like he was going to hit Priest, and then he turned and faced Jey Uso. Jey Uso turned around and saw Randy there, and they had a little bit of a moment there. They were having a standoff, and I think it was Priest who came charging up behind Randy, and Jey hit him with a super kick. And I think that kind of cleared things with Randy and Jey there, because after it, Randy hugged everybody. He hugged Cody, he hugged Jey, he hugged Seth Rollins, and Randy Orton hugged, which is really like Bizarro land with the long-awaited feud that Jey and Seth have had, being on the same team as the Authority, but not liking or not trusting one another at times. To see them hugging in the ring, and the music kept playing. You heard Cody Rhodes. They were celebrating in the ring. It was a long thing, and everybody was just anticipating this long-awaited Randy Orton turn on Cody. It's just what everybody had probably planned in their head, and the show kept going. You're just like, okay, what's going to happen? This is still going. We're not closing out the show. Is Randy going to do this? Is Randy going to do this? Not that I wanted to see Randy do it then. If he does it, I think it should be a little bit later down the road where it can be a better storyline. I wanted to see the babyfaces have this pop, have this win, see Randy Orton have his return as a babyface for the night before turning heel. If he wants to turn heel, he can do that on Raw against Cody. Fine, whatever. I just didn't want to see him to do it tonight. And so we were all sitting there, and I'm sure as you guys were probably sitting there going, what the heck is taking so long? But before we get to that, let's
Word.
talk about this match. Mr. Z, go ahead. What did you think about this match? Not what happened after this match, but what happened in the match.
I'm gonna go there. Is JD McDonugh even alive? That's all I want to know.
That fool
Good
was
God.
put up on the top of the cage and launched off by Sami and Zay to Randy Orton, who hit him with the highest RKO I think we've ever seen in the world of professional wrestling. The only way they're going to get any better is if he hits an RKO off the top of a Hell in a Cell at this point. And I hope they don't decide to go that crazy. Now, that might be something they might try to do in another company that's down south. But
Don't say that.
now, they are down south. They're based out of Jacksonville, Florida, so they're the new WCW of the down south.
Oh yeah, but other than that, great match, great way to tell the story, great way to lead into Randy Orton's return. I mean, you couldn't have done it any better. The massive pop, and then of course him, still holding the grudge against Jay before Jay, saved his ass with that super kick. I mean, what else can you? What more can you want from this match other than the fact to let the baby faces get the big win and have the Stooge take the fall?
Yeah.
Everyone's hands are clean. They didn't take away from anybody else. The Stooge did what he was supposed to.
Mr. Clarke, your thoughts on this match?
Going back to that JD McDonugh RKO, again, the perfect song. Let the bodies hit the floor. Okay? And you notice the ref was quick with it to make sure he didn't break his neck.
Yeah.
Because, that was brutal.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else, I mean, you expected the guys to bring it, and they did. What more can you say? Very satisfactory ending to this match. The right people won. We all predicted it would be that Damien Preist would take the pin. Or will be pinned, is what I'm trying to say.
Mm-hmm. We were wrong.
No, we said Damien Priest would take the pin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Eat the pin is what I should have said, to be clear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, if there was nothing else after the show, if that was the ending, I still would have been just as satisfied.
Oh no, and the right person ate the pin. Whether you, I mean that's the story that was being told. This continues the story of the cracks in the foundation for Judgment Day, because we know Damien Priest is going to be out of Judgment Day at some point. When that is all going to happen, I don't know for sure, but we're definitely seeing that coming. And that was my prediction. Bayley is going to be out of Damage Control. She needed to eat the pin, and here Damien Priest needed to eat the pin and get eliminated on that aspect. So, but yeah, no, it was a good, solid match. It did everything it needed to do at this point. We had everything in place for what we wanted. I mean, I don't know what more you could really ask for in this situation other than that. So anyways, as I was saying before, the show was it kept going on and on. I really was waiting for Randy to RKO somebody. Who it was going to be, I wasn't sure, but I just kept waiting for this moment of something to happen. But what happened was probably the most shocking thing in the world of professional wrestling. I don't know, maybe all year. I mean, I think this was bigger than AEW signing Will Ospreay. I think this was way more up there.
Definitely the farther reach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it changed the whole course of everything as it set before this. Because you're just like, you had a good show. You wonder what was going to happen in the end, and then bam, Cult of Personality hits the airwaves, and the whole place goes ape bonkers. I mean, just totally off the chain, off the hook. I mean, I don't know how you can top this any better, but yes, ladies and gentlemen, the return of CM Punk to WWE. He came out in street clothes. He walked out. He stood there. He celebrated like we haven't seen him celebrate in a long time. He was hugging on the fans. He was running around a little bit like Edge. it was something way different than we had seen in a long time. And for them to pull this off, leaving everybody up there wondering, is it going to happen? Was it going to happen? Nobody really knew for sure. And in the end, we got CM Punk back in WWE. And it was crazy it was crazy. I mean, I made the jokes about it all day. We know he lives in Chicago. We know he walks his dog Larry all over the place. We knew that the news and reports, we knew that the big dogs had said that the big wigs said, no, we don't want him. We're not having any contacts with him. And if you watch the press conference after, Triple H said this came together pretty darn quick. Now, what quick means in his eyes to us, I don't know. There is new merchandise up on the website for him already. So that says a lot. But it is very interesting that we now have CM Punk back in the WWE. And this is how we ended the show. He didn't confront anybody. He just came out, gave his looks, ran around, celebrated with the crowd. And Triple H says the only people who really knew were him and Nick Khan. Now, I don't know if they let anybody else into it. I know there's been rumors, as you said earlier, that Seth Rollins was being held back from security because he was so upset by CM Punk being there, which I don't believe that. Seth Rollins is way bigger than to act a fool over that. If he's going to be mad about something, I can get maybe he's mad. But he would go back in the backstage area and talk to Triple H about that before doing anything. So I don't necessarily get where that all comes from or stems from. But, man, CM Punk showing back up in WWE. And, of course, I mean, it wasn't long ago that AEW and Tony Khan did a ruse where they brought in Adam Cole. And everybody popped for Adam Cole. And then we thought Daniel Bryan. You know, everybody thought Daniel Bryan was going to show up, but we got Adam Cole. And we thought that was going to be it. And then we got Daniel Bryan in the end of the show. And that was a big pop, a huge night for AEW. I'll give him that. But I'm sorry, Triple H told Tony Khan, hold my beer, and blew that out of the water. Not only did he have Randy Orton return to a huge pop and got Randy Orton over in a crowd that was kind of hostile. We didn't know it was going to happen. And then after all of that, left the show hanging there, left you just because they kept going. And we were just like, what? Something's happening. If you're a wrestling fan and you've watched these shows, especially WWE, when they start continuing to celebrate for a long period of time, you're kind of like, okay, something's happening, and you're waiting. And of course, they set up the perfect story because everybody thought Randy was going to turn on Cody, and that's what we were waiting for in that moment in the ring. But no, when Cult of Personality hit that place, Chicago, that building blew off the roof. There is no longer a roof on the Allstate Arena in Chicago. I can guarantee you that after tonight. But it was incredibly satisfying to see CM Punk back. He came out in street clothes. He looked happy to be there. He looked excited. He looked pumped up. He was hugging on fans. Luckily, he didn't jump into the fans and go crowd surfing, so we're not going to have to worry about another broken foot. But we're definitely going to see it. And he is, this isn't a one-time thing. He is in the WWE. If you go listen to the press conference when Triple H was asked about it, he said he's here. We have to see how it goes. But, you know, what's best for business? Cody says it's best for business. So it's going to be really interesting. Triple H was very interesting in his statements. But the biggest thing he says, it's been 10 years. And if you haven't changed in 10 years, then there's kind of something wrong with you. But he's a different person than he is 10 years ago. And so is one CM Punk, and I think the world's going to be excited. WWE just blew the doors open in the world of professional wrestling. Will Ospreay was a huge get for AEW, no doubt, one of the best wrestlers in the world. But Punk coming back to WWE, something we thought we'd never, ever see again, is huge, and momentum, and it's going to be huge. And what he's going to say when he gets the mic, because you know Triple H is going to let him have his way. How AEW is going to react to this is going to be interesting. That's going to be the big key. I don't know what they're going to do. If they ignore it, if Tony Khan does this stupid, I'm just going to ignore it, blow it off, and not act like it's a big deal, I think that's going to play against him. So AEW is going to have to do something. And we're going to have to see how it is. But I mean, good God, the hints and the teases that a lot of people thought, oh, you're reaching for stuff. But there was so many things going here. And then Sean Ross Sapp and Dave Meltzer and all these people coming out going, no, we've talked to the big WWEs and they don't have anything to do with it. But now, again, Triple H said this came together very quickly. So I don't know when he didn't really tell us when these talks started, but they do have, it's not necessarily a huge it's the traditional Chicago flag with the traditional CM Punk logo, the hand with the lightning bolt in it for this new merchandise. So it's not necessarily something that they had to completely pick up and create new. This could have been what they pieced together. It's on a black shirt, but it's definitely something they could have pieced together from old stock stuff they probably had put away for CM Punk. So you could have, in the 2 weeks, a week, this could have came together, and it was definitely just kind of Nick Khan and Triple H made this happen from what Triple H said, and here we are. And Triple H did this right because the chants were there, everybody was expecting it. Then by the time that everybody was kind of like, oh yeah, when it became the running gag, oh yeah, CM Punk's going to show up, and people had pretty much bought into the fact that he wasn't going to show up, for him to pull this out of their hat and keep it from everybody. None of the wrestlers or the boys seemed to know this. There was only, Triple H said him and Nick Khan were about it. They said the big wigs at TKO are probably sitting there going, holy shit, like everybody else is. And so the boys probably didn't know. But I'm sure there would have been moments. I mean, even if Triple H in business, if you're bringing somebody in like this, I'm sure there's some people that you can trust, like a Seth Rollins. So I wouldn't have been surprised if they did sit down with Seth Rollins and have a discussion with Seth, like, we're bringing in Punk, okay? So, because that is your world champion, and he is a big part of WWE, so I don't think you want to over-trigger him. And WWE is way more professional about how to deal with all that. And we also heard that Punk and Triple H had an hour talk, I guess, before the show, or at some point they had a long talk.
Look, real quick. It was Sean Ross Sapp that reported it, saying someone close to Punk told him that Triple H and him had a solid 1 hour conversation prior to this all happening. So pretty much Punk was a black bag job. There was no, there was no ifs, ands, or buts. No one had an idea. The odds are it was all under.
No, Triple H said it was pretty much between him and Nick Khan in the press conference. I would still think that some people probably knew. I would think maybe a Seth Rollins would know, being there in the ring. I would think there's some people that you want to tell just to make sure they don't. Because we know Seth Rollins is not a big Punk fan, and Triple H even said this, whether you like him or hate him, if he's good for business, then let's do it. And that's what it is. And I think Punk's in a different world, in a different place in mind. I think coming out of the other place where he hated it so much, and now he's in a place that's under Triple H control, I think he probably has his freedom, but he has a more mature group, for lack of a better word at the moment. I think he's going to be much more happier, and I think he'd be willing. I think you can get Punk and Rollins to sit down and talk out and make peace. Not saying they have to like one another, but I think Rollins and Punk
do business.
Oh, and they will. I do not doubt CM Punk and Seth Rollins won't do business, and that is this changes the course of everything. I mean, it's really hard now because I'm like, Punk versus Rollins for the world title at WrestleMania, bam. I mean, that gets right up there with Cody against Roman, and of course it sucks because that kind of takes Gunther out of that picture that you want him in. But I mean, and Punk may not want to be doing that, but I mean, the names that Punk can get in the ring with, and if Punk's the guy that Shinsuke Nakamura's been talking about, and we're gonna get Punk versus Nakamura in the new year, woo!
Oh my god!
Good God! Punk Nakamura, Punk Rollins, Punk Roman.
Bro,
we know.
Chills. The hair is standing up on my arms. Just the thought of that.
Punk LA Knight. I mean, talk about the promo work between a Punk and LA Knight if they get together. Hell, we can have flashbacks of Ring of Honor old school if you get Punk and Kevin Owens in the ring together. So, I mean, the names go on and on. And that alone, what we thought we were going to see in AEW at one point, but then Cody jumped to WWE. Could we be getting Punk and Cody somewhere down the road? And imagine the work you're going to see there between them two. And props to Cody, because he comes out on the press conference with the notes and starts reading it and goes, oh, sorry, that old EVP behavior. Cody throwing shade to the EVPs. So it was great. But anyways, I mean, what made tonight was...
Real quick. It's been talked about. Cody making the jump was a big deal. You're coming from one to the other and then coming back. You've seen what we've done. We've seen what they've done with Lexus King, bringing him up and making him a fucking star. And now you have CM Punk coming back from the other side. I mean, To say that we're gonna start a burial, but I mean, when do you break out the shovels, folks?
You can't start a burial because Tony Khan's already digging that hole. So Tony Khan's already digging a 6x6 grave for his company. Tony Khan's doing that on his own. There's nobody that needs to bury him. And if you see Punk and if Punk gets the Cody treatment, we see Alexis King making his big name, and we know Triple H just came out tonight and they asked about Jade Cargill, and the big deal, he wants to make sure she is completely 100% ready to look golden. He does not want to send her in there where it may make them or her look bad, and he is working very hard and very diligently because even though Jade Cargill was the longest reigning TBS Women's Champion and one of the brightest stars and went undefeated for so long, she was still very green. She was still very green. So I know Triple H has taken all that time to get that greenness off of her and get her to where she needs to be that superstar that they need her to be when she finally does step in a ring. Yes.
Real quick, my brother. We got a guy over here saying Cody versus Roman, CM Punk versus Seth, Gunther versus Brock Lesnar. Hey, there's your WrestleMania card right there, folks.
Thank you, Brandon Jones, for your input. Yes. Brandon James. Did I read that wrong? My bad. Brandon James. Yes, we always want to get props to anybody who's in the chat. But Brandon James, yes. Cody Roman, we know that's going to happen. Punk versus Rollins. Gunther versus Brock Lesnar for the Intercontinental title is something that I've heard been talking about. But I kept going, I think Gunther needs to be in the world title picture. But I mean, Gunther, Brock Lesnar for the Intercontinental title, you could definitely make that story. Brock Lesnar's never been an Intercontinental champion. Why he would want to be, but I mean, you could still have him come in and be like, I want your gold because you think you're big and bad. Let you meet the Brock Lesnar.
Well, the bottom line there, though, is a spectacle, regardless of what title it is.
Right, exactly. Like, you got two of the biggest dudes in that right now.
Now, do you have... Now, here's the story. Would you have Brock Lesnar beat Gunther at WrestleMania for the Intercontinental title, then build the rematch to maybe SummerSlam where Gunther beats him for the title back? Give Brock Lesnar a little run, but then, I mean... Gunther losing to Brock Lesnar would kind of stop that momentum, but him coming back and beating Brock Lesnar later would really give him a huge rub. Instead of him, I mean, I guess you could just have him beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania and be good, but I think you might get a little more out of it if Brock Lesnar, because at some point he's got to lose this title. You know, that's all I'm saying.
Do you mean you don't want Roman 2.0?
Not with Gunther. Not when I want to see Gunther as a world champion. But Gunther beating Brock Lesnar would put him in main event contentionship. But I would almost have him lose to Brock at WrestleMania, but beat Brock at SummerSlam for the title back.
You know what I didn't see tonight, and I actually really appreciated it, was Gunther not really chopping that much. He didn't lay into the chops as much. He actually worked the match. There wasn't really much of that as a defense, and that was solid.
So Seth did happen. There's clips of him being held back. We know there's clips of him being held back by security, but I don't think it was because CM Punk showed up, is what we're saying. We know there's clips out there being held by security for whatever reason, but because if it's security, then they're out of the cage, and the Punk was out there while they were still in the cage. So I can't see. I mean, I guess I'd have to find this video clip and see the exact reaction. Of course, this could be playing into the storyline. I don't see Seth legitimately being that mad. Now, storyline kayfabe, maybe he was acting up to sell it, but we're going to have to research that. I mean, we're not denying that there's not clips of Seth being held by security or referees or whoever was holding him. We just don't know everything else that was going around at that time. And because a fan has the camera or for their phone there and recording a clip, a fan can, manipulate it to however they want it to.
Out of context.
Yeah. So that's the only reason we're kind of skeptical about it until we can see it for ourselves and dig into it and get more information. We know the Seth thing happened. We just don't know why it happened. And people are saying that he got upset because CM Punk came out and he was being held back by security. I have to see where he was at that. There's so many things that go into that you have to see, and we haven't been able to see the clips because we're here doing this show. But we appreciate you. Flanagan?
Yeah,
I think.
Chris.
Flanagan.
Yeah, thanks, brother.
Okay, he's your buddy of yours. So
Yeah.
we're not denying that aspect of it. We haven't seen it for ourselves to digest it and understand what's going on. And the story that's being pitched is that CM Punk came out and Seth Rollins basically flipped out that he needed to be held by security because he was going to go. That doesn't make sense.
First of all, if that were true, he wouldn't be held by security; he'd be held by the boys.
Yeah,
right.
No,
it'd be one of those moments of fan,
and it would have been on official camera.
Yeah. No, I think there's something else. We have to see the context of how that all played out, where it played out. We just don't know enough to get into that story. But what a Survivor Series! What a way to end the show! I've seen
tweets from the other side. Some of the boys that are super juiced that Punk's back.
Hey,
these are boys. Yay!
Here's the other thing. Do you know Punk was mentioned on AEW TV tonight?
On Collision, I think it was.
Yes,
Oh,
Malachi
God, really?
Malachi Black told FTR they were alone. They had no CM Punk. They had no Cesaro. They had nobody to watch them. Yes, he did call Claudio Cesaro on AEW TV, and so CM Punk's name was mentioned on AEW TV by Malachi Black tonight. What does this do in the world of wrestling if you see Cody Rhodes getting the special treatment, you see Alexis King coming over getting the special treatment and being made into a star, Jay Cargill they're majorly protecting for the right time, now CM Punk's in WWE, it's going to change the landscape of professional wrestling once again for a long time to come.
Paging Ricky Starks, the door's open for you.
I mean, why wouldn't a Ricky Starks jump? And then you got to look at MJF and wonder, has he signed his extension as much as everybody's saying it is, and does he kind of regret that? Is there going to be a look at it going, maybe that wasn't the right choice? And what about everybody else that's there? What about it? Adam Cole, is he going to want to go back over to WWE when his contract's up? Because of everything they're doing. I don't know what Bryan Danielson will do. I assume he loves AEW as much as he says. So I don't know if we'll ever see him come back to WWE, maybe as a Legends deal or a Hall of Fame deal. But, there's so many names that are over there that, look at Wardlow has a wonderful opportunity when his contract is. Look at what they could do with the Wardlow in WWE if he decided to jump ship. What if a Buddy Matthews contract comes up? Does he jump back over to the WWE? To be utilized. I know he was utilized tonight. It's a hit or miss, but there's a lot of talent there that I think Tony Khan overlooks. There's just so many names that you're looking at going.
Andrade, he's been trying to go back.
Yeah.
Why not?
We'll have to see what Andrade does because, he's being used sort of, but he didn't get used tonight. And of course, another big name. Could the Revival come back? What if the Revival? Well, there's a boy there, Their boy. And here.
One more run.
Yeah.
Why not? Him and FTR back together again. And here's the kicker in the can. AEW just brought in the Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland. And, of course, I guess they had a segment with Adam Copeland, Concerto, and Kill Switch. And they are calling Luchasaurus Kill Switch on AEW TV. It is an official name change. They called him Kill Switch. He took a concerto, then he started getting up, and then Edge hit him with a curb stomp into the chair, and then hit a second concerto. But AEW brings in this Rated R superstar, Adam Copeland, and the hype was super, super short-lived. Like, you're just... Mm-hmm. It hit its peak already, and that's sad. And now WWE brings back CM Punk. Anything Tony Khan had with even bringing Adam Copeland in and being a hot moment at Wrestle Dream. And here's the other report: Wrestle Dream is the lowest rating pay-per-view watch pay-per-view for AEW, at least this year from the reports. It did not do very good. And so,
I would hope tomorrow we get the ratings from tonight's 3-hour.
Well, this was the most. We already know this is the most watched Survivor Series ever. The numbers are through the roof.
I'm not worried about Survivor Series. I'm talking about the other side tomorrow morning when we're talking about everything else. I want to know the numbers for tonight, how they did, just so we can either knock on it and hopefully give some kind of praise. I guess I don't know.
I think AEW tried to come out with a good card tonight. They had some decent stuff on there, and match wise, some of it. I don't know. They had Julia Hart defending her AEW Women's Champion or TBS Championship in a TBS House Rules match. against Frost, whoever Frost is. I don't know. You guys
That's
may
Lady
know.
Frost?
Just Frost. They didn't say Lady Frost. They just said Frost.
She got silver hair, right?
Well, I think anybody with the name Frost should have silver hair if that's the character. So it may be Lady Frost as you're referring to her. All they said was her name was Frost.
Okay.
So I'm gonna look this up while we're talking.
Yeah, that's
I want
fine.
to know.
No, they just showed Frost as the name that was in the billing. And of course, FTR took on the Righteous, so there's a big match that they couldn't save for another event, but they had to put that on tonight, trying to get people to watch
Well,
it.
I've already spoke to you guys off air about the Righteous, how they're doing right now, and I mean, go figure. No, really.
Yes, it was Lady Frost.
Okay.
Okay, but they only called her Frost.
Okay.
Well, I understand. It's just that we know her as Lady Frost.
No, I understand. Yeah, they just called her on AEW Frost. Whether she's Lady Frost, I don't know. But now we've clarified that this is Lady Frost, so she has some name recognition. But yeah, so that's who took on her. And then they had Commander and Gravity in a tag match against the House of Black and Malachi Black and Buddy Matthews. Because Brody King was in the match with Eddie Kingston tonight in the Continental Classic tournament. That is getting crapped on more and more. The further this goes along, it's getting dumped on. And Tony Khan keeps trying to make it into something special. I think when they introduced the aspect that they're bringing a new title in this and they're doing a Triple Crown winner, I think everybody lost interest right there. Because they're just like, huh? Like, what?
Did Kingston pull the win off tonight?
I don't know yet. Haven't. Go ahead, Mr. Clarke.
I'm looking. So we have 8 votes in our poll for tonight for Survivor Series, and I'm kind of shocked that anyone voted for boring. I'm like, what didn't this show give you? What was boring about it?
Must have been Tony Khan.
Hey, there's AEW marks everywhere. Like I reported earlier, there was a report that AEW marks were buying tickets to Survivor Series, which thank you for buying WWE tickets, supporting the company, and they were going to go jump Punk if he showed up tonight. But I didn't see anybody jump over the rails, unless that's what was going on with Seth Rollins. He was going to protect Punk from the rioting fans that jumped over the barrier. Anyways,
and speaking of which, isn't someone supposed to retire since CM Punk showed up tonight?
Oh yes, in a tweet earlier. You know what? I will say, feed me more, boy. I will say, Ryback said in a tweet today that if CM Punk showed up to Survivor Series, he'd retire. Ryback, sha-na-na-na, hey, goodbye.
Hey, someone choose a What the Yes chant. We'll appreciate that.
Na-na-na-na, hey, goodbye. No, 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 no. No, oh, wait, no.
Oh, it's not what?
Yes! 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 Yes!
Thank you! The best gift we could get this Christmas year.
Oh, yes.
We fail.
Yeah, there you go.
Get out of here.
Ryback
says he's going to retire.
All right.
Oh, with that note, we should do this. Oh, boy, ladies and gentlemen, we're having fun. We're here. I guess some people think it's boring. It may be an AEW mark. If you're a hardcore AEW mark, then you may not like the show. I don't know how you can say it's boring after you had Randy Orton return and get a nice pop, and then you have CM Punk returning. The only way I could say you say this, the ending of this is boring. Like, it doesn't end a boring rate. Is if you just don't like CM Punk that much. If you thought he was a dirtbag and you're sold on everything that happened to AEW, so.
Well, I mean, you should have been excited for our truth. I mean, we were. We
had 39 viewers on the show tonight, gentlemen.
All right. Thank you, folks, for coming by.
Only 3 likes, though, but hey, it's okay. It's okay. Stuff happens.
That's okay.
We are growing, moving forward. We are doing what is doing to be done. And So this has been your Survivor Series review right here on The Value of Wrestling. We have covered everything with Survivor Series. We've talked about CM Punk returning to the company. Can't wait to see what he has to say. What is going to happen with him? Now you have a reason to watch Monday and Fridays because we don't know where Punk's going to show up. I assume he's probably going to show up on Mondays. Now we'll see who wants to buy the rights to Monday Night Raw. We have not heard who's going to. We know SmackDown's going back to Friday, or going back to the USA Network, and is going to be live across the nation. So in the Pacific Standard Time, SmackDown will be coming on at 5:00 p.m. It will be a live, not aired later. It may be aired later, but it's going to be live in full on the USA Network. When it goes back there, we know CW has made the deal with NXT. We don't know where Raw is going to go. A lot of rumors. FX is a big name that's being thrown around there. But if they got Punk on Raw, I wonder who would want to be by Raw. What if Warner Brothers goes, we like Punk so much, let's talk. Yeah, of course, yes. USA Network could come back and buy it. A lot of this we're still waiting to see where the NBA lands because they're asking for $60 billion from the NBA broadcast rights. So that's going to be a big deal. But would it be funny if Warner Brothers and TBS, TNT decide, or Warner Brothers Discovery come out and go, hey, we want to buy Raw, and we want to put it on the Superstation because you guys got Punk. I mean, the collision
isn't that coming full circle? Because I mean, that's where it started, and might as well go ahead and close the door, folks.
I mean, and Triple H said it tonight. Whether you like Punk or don't like Punk, he knows how to get people to talk about him. He knows how to get attention, and it's good for business. And if you look at TNT, TBS, and you watch the ratings of what happened to Collision after Punk was gone, if you're a TV station going, well, we know how valuable Punk is to ratings, maybe we want the show that has Punk. And then AEW's out in hot water because I don't know who would really want to invest into AEW as the product stands right now. I think Tony Khan's very lucky to have Warner Brothers Discovery. They wanted wrestling on TV. They picked up this product. They've given him a lot of leeway and said they don't care about ratings. But if
Tony, the HBO Max still doesn't sound like a bad idea now, does it?
Well, he's supposed to be going to 2 pay-per-views a year, which I don't know how they're going to do that. But I mean, if they get kicked off at TBS and TNT and they're not in Warner Brothers Discovery, which means they can't be on the Max streaming service, then where do they go? Who would really be interested in AEW for a TV deal? I don't know if Amazon Prime would want that. I think Amazon Prime is way up there, and Jeff Bezos had.
Where'd you go, Paul? What happened?
Hold on.
I'm sorry, but it's practically the death of AEW if they don't have Warner Brothers Discovery.
I can't tell you who would want to. Amazon, Jeff Bezos has too much money and knows business too well. He's made too much money. He's not going to invest into a commodity that is not making money right now. Now, WWE would be a different story because WWE is huge. WWE is drawing in millions and millions and millions. So you know that's a safe bet. AEW is not a safe bet. They just are lucky to have a platform that's called Warner's Discovery that's allowing to be on TBS and TNT. But if they don't continue that rights deal, I can't tell you who would pick them up that would be good. Yeah, maybe an Access, maybe a Sci-Fi, maybe these lower end channels that exist out there.
Wow. Even for theory's sake, wow.
I mean, I don't know who would I mean, maybe they wind up on the streaming platform Pluto or some of these other free ones. Again,
they're not Impact or TNA, whatever it is now. They're not the little engine that could. So if they go off, that means they're just gone.
Well, the only thing you could have in it is Tony Khan and Chad Khan have too much money. So could they buy their own TV network just to put AEW on TV?
Idea. Don't give them that idea.
I wouldn't be surprised if it's not something they're already talking about in a way. Because, I mean, if you had that much money and you had a TV show that was putting on a wrestling program and you wanted to keep your product completely safe and completely keep a majority of that revenue, why wouldn't you go out and buy a network station? I know it would take a lot more money than they might actually have, but, I mean, you might be. They would be one group I would say might be able to pull it off. They have a lot of money.
Hey.
And they could bundle that together. They could bundle that together with probably Jacksonville Jaguars programming outside of actual games. And they could connect that with their soccer team that they own. So, I mean, there's a lot of things they could probably package in to buy their own TV network. So, I don't know.
What are they going to do? Have wrestling matches during halftime? I mean,
don't give them an idea.
Night Heat. Flashbacks to Sunday Night Heat.
I'm trying to think of like what they're gonna wind up on UPN.
It sounds
Is
like
that
a conversation for tomorrow.
Is UPN
yes,
still
sir,
around?
it does.
Anyways,
Yes,
ladies and gentlemen, this is the Value Wrestling. This has been your This has been your Survivor Series War Games review for November 25th, 2023. Lots of big stuff happened. We are up to 40 viewers. Thank you for coming. Thank you for visiting us. Please hit that like button. If you're watching this later, make sure you hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Join the Value Wrestling family. We are working to march to 1,000, and with your subscription, it helps us grow. It helps us get out in the algorithm, and especially if you like this video, it sets us up there. If you're excited to see CM Punk back in the WWE, can't wait to hear what he says, then definitely pound that like button. Drop your comments below. Join in the conversation. As always, we will be back tomorrow at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here on the Value Wrestling with your weekly roundup, where we'll discuss everything going on in the world of professional wrestling, which will probably be a huge part of that will probably be CM Punk. What does AEW do going forward? If there was anything significantly great about Collision that is even worth talking about, we may throw it out there. Otherwise, it may just be a leap in the dark. I mean, we can talk about Wheeler Yuta winning back the Pure Championship. Sorry if you spoil alert, but that's life.
It's already happened. It's over anyways.
Yeah, I don't know if there's anything great that really happened tonight on that aspect compared to what happened on SummerSlam. You got R-Truth returning. We got Randy Orton returning and CM Punk returning. And Triple H smashed it. I don't think...
His own throne.
I mean, you can have all the people expected can come out and say, "Oh, we expect to see him Punk to show up," but I think people were majoritarily still shocked whether you actually believed he was going to show up or believed he wasn't going to show up. When that music hit, I think everybody's jaw hit the floor. You could have been so sold that he was showing up, so 100% sure, but I still guarantee you, your jaw hit the floor because there was everybody had a little inkling of doubt somewhere, saying, "Okay, I think it's going to happen, but." It might not, so I don't want to get my hopes up too much. And the way Triple H pulled that out to drag out the whole show, get to the end of the show where you're sitting there going, okay, we're going to wrap this up. No CM Punk. Yeah. Oh, no. What? I mean, there's never been, I don't know.
People were probably walking off from their seats.
Hey, imagine the people, imagine when the 1, 2, 3 was counted, the people chanted and saw that they were celebrating the ring and started walking out into the corridors, out into the, where the snack stands and everything, and then hear that music stand. I wonder how many people ran back into the arena, like rushed back in the arena. Would you feel stupid if you left Survivor Series early and then heard CM Punk showed up? Like if you were like,
the only ones that couldn't leave are the ones that were taking home their seats. Those are the only ones that had to stay the rest of the show.
Yes,
so
that's something we could definitely discuss that tomorrow about the rules for keeping your commemorative seats in WWE. Yes, there's actually rules, as we've seen tonight, that the way you get to keep your seat, if you bought that big expensive ticket, there's a whole set of rules and gambits and circles and hoops that you got to jump through. But that's all outside that. CM Punk is back in WWE, and I think we are all like dying for Monday to get here. Because that's where I assume he's going to show up. You've got to get him on TV quick, fast, in a hurry. Give that man a mic.
Yep.
But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for being here. We thank you for joining us. Again, this is Value Wrestling. This is your Survivor Series review show. We will be back tomorrow with the weekly roundup at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so make sure you join us for that. But for now, it is time for us to get out of here. If my box works, then we can do it right. Like I always say, till the next episode. It's time to say, oh, believe that. Now, if I can just find the right thing to get us over there. There we go.